Have you ever wondered what happens to your deposits when you buy a new construction home? The stories that I'm about to share might surprise you. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments along the way. So here's the basics. When buying a new construction home, there are a few deposits. So your earnest money or your EMD is going to be your first deposit. And that can generally be either a flat fee or it's a percentage of the base price that you are purchasing your home for. Then you have structural deposits. And that can be anything from you add a 20-foot glorious slider. That is going to require another deposit. And that could depend on a few things as well. Are you using their lender? Your deposit could vary depending on just that simple fact alone. Then you have deposits at the design center, and that's where you go and dream and add in all the upgrades that you want to see in your new home. That's also going to require a deposit, 25 to 50%, maybe even 100%. Your earnest money deposit or your EMD could vary depending on what type of loan that you're going to get and the price point of the home. So it's usually a flat fee or a percentage, and it just depends on what builder that you're going to use. Where it gets interesting is at the design center, because the builder has said this particular home should take, let's just use $100,000 as our example. It should use $100,000 in upgrades. We know that this floor plan with an appraiser will actually be able to handle $100,000 in upgrades. So let's just say you want to add $200,000 in upgrades. Well, that first $100,000, you're not going to have to put an additional deposit down on. But that additional $100,000 that you are technically over improving for the neighborhood, more than likely, you are going to have to put at least 50% of that $100,000 as an additional non-refundable deposit. One of the reasons that I go to the design center appointment with you is because when you walk in, the oohs and ahs of all the shiny things and all the options that you have really do get overwhelming. So we kind of walk through with the design consultant at the design center what your options are, but I'm there to kind of help you keep in mind what is important to you through the discussions that we've had. Because if you over improve for the neighborhood, your home is not going to appraise, which also means that the builder knows this as well, since they've baked in what they know would be a good appraisal amount for that home. Because keep in mind, they have years and years and years of experience doing this. So at times, they have that amount really down pat. So I've had a client who actually upgraded so much and they paid the amount. They paid the amount at the design center that was over the suggested amount for that home. They canceled close to when that home was being built because their job transfer didn't go through. There was no compensation made back to them for the money that they spent at the design center. So while at the time they were so excited and just knew that that was going to make their dream home perfect, when that job loss came, they did not get that money back from the design center because the builder had already ordered the materials. I believe at that time it had already even been installed. So now they have to sell this home with a design that someone else picked out. So keep this in mind when you are at the design center, that you don't want to over improve and by chance lose that additional deposit that you put down. In this instance, having an emotional buffer there with you, whether that's a realtor, a friend, a parent, to help you stay on track is going to be huge. So we don't want to ruin your HGTV dreams, but we want to make sure that the decisions that you're making today actually are going to benefit you down the line. You don't want to over improve for the neighborhood or make choices that when you go to resell this home, which likely you will, most people don't stay in their homes forever anymore. You want to make sure that the resale value with what you pick is still intact. If you're new to my channel, I'm Eileen Guilbeault, your go-to real estate advisor for all things relocating to Las Vegas. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified anytime a new video is uploaded. Okay, here's another nightmare scenario. It's kind of about hidden clauses. I mean, they're not hidden, but we are not lawyers. When we are excited about something, most people, there are those of you who do, but most people do not read every single word on that contract. My client's son was buying his first home. So excited. He's 26 years old, buying his first home. His company is doing amazing. He's making a ton of money. But what he did was he hired his friend who was brand new to real estate. While that's not something that you should be ashamed of, we were all new at one time, but if you don't have the expertise necessary to help someone, you need to align yourself with someone who does have that experience. Because my client's son actually lost his earnest money because the timelines weren't adhered to. So there is a timeline when you're getting your loan that if you cannot get the loan, that you can get your earnest money deposit back. But because the realtor wasn't paying attention, maybe they didn't have any back office support who was also paying attention, and the builder is not obligated to continually remind you that these timelines are in place. They didn't keep that timeline, and at the last minute, the loan was denied for one reason or another, and the earnest money that he had put down, he lost. And so it may not seem like a big deal, but when you are young, or heck, even when you're old and you're saving that money for a down payment or for an earnest money deposit, it could be the difference between you buying a home ever again. So be sure to have someone experienced with you who can walk you through all of the steps necessary to get you to the finish line. So how could this have been avoided? Well, number one, if you are signing a contract, it is your responsibility to know what is in that contract. So know your timelines. If you don't know them, ask the builder. The builder will give them to you. They will let you know that you have 5 days to review the HOA documents. You have 21 days to get your loan approved. You have all of these timelines where if you had to, you could cancel the contract and get your earnest money back. But if you don't have those timelines down, then your money could be at jeopardy. And the best way to do this is to hire an experienced realtor who can keep track of these items with you, not for you. Pop quiz. How many deposits might you be responsible for? Is it A, structural? Is it B, the roof? Is it C, the landscaping? Or D, maybe it's the community center? The first one to leave the correct comment below will get a personal shout out from me. Safeguarding your deposits really comes down to just a few things. Number one, know your timelines. Put them in your calendar. Set up a Google alert so that you know this is the day that your timeline for this particular item is done. Also, be sure that you know who the point of contact is with the builder. Is it the sales office? Is it the title office? Is it the sales management team that are on site for your home? Who is that point of contact? Maybe there are several. You need to have all of their contact information so that if you run into a problem or simply have a question, that you know who you need to reach out to. And then make sure that you know the difference between maybe using the builder's lender or an outside lender. So one of my clients recently is buying a new construction home, and the builder was giving them a massive amount of incentives. So this was like almost $30,000. So we got the sheet from the builder that said how much the lender was charging and how much the builder was giving. Well, when we sent that to an outside lender, the amount went from $30,000 to about $4,000 in actual incentives because of all of the fees that were being charged by the builder's lender. It really didn't make sense any longer because the interest rate was better with an outside lender to use that builder's lender for only a $4,000 incentive. So keep in mind that while things may sound good up front, there is still some digging that you need to do when it comes to how your deposits are spent, which lenders you're using. And there's a lot of these other caveats when you're buying a new construction home that you really need to have someone experienced to walk you through the process. Because while you are so excited about getting into this new home, sometimes things can slip through the cracks. For more videos about relocating to Las Vegas and real estate tips, be sure to watch one of the videos on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'll see you the next time.